You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn connects you with experts from all over the world to help you take charge of your career, your business, and your life. Rap along with us. Visit drjacalyn.com to learn how to become a guest or a sponsor. And now, the doctor is in.
Hello and welcome. We are so happy to have you with us today. You are watching Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn presents A Better You. Lessons from the best coaches, consultants, and trusted advisors. I am your host, executive producer, director, and broadcast engineer. And this show is not about being interviewed. This is a presentation platform. I have hand chosen, hand selected the best people in their industries to come and share their expertise on our stage. Each will have 15 minutes to present a lesson to make us better personally or professionally. Two of our experts are backstage right now. Let me bring them out. Joining us from London is Daphne Diluce. And joining us from Connecticut is Mike Boissonneault. Hello, welcome.
Good morning. Thanks for having me back.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to see you, Mike. Welcome back. And Daphne, welcome for your first presentation.
Thank you. And hello from the UK. So nice to be talking to the USA.
It's so nice that we have a global audience and that we have people like you who are so accomplished. You are experts in your industry. You've been presenting. This is no big deal for you. It's something that you've been doing for your whole careers. And we are just thrilled that you are here to share on A Better You.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And also, I have a treat for the audience today. I have a new book in front of me. So congratulations, Dr. Jacalyn. Behind the green screen is out.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I really do. I'm going to spotlight each of you, and I'd love for you to share a little bit about your background. And remember that we are live on social media, and we're also live on Business Talk Radio. So some of our audience is watching and some is listening. So Daphne, we see that you're a global branding and a brand cleaver. Mike, we see you're an author and CEO of Rewirement Media. So tell us a little bit more, and what can we expect to hear today? Daphne.
Oh, well, thanks for having us. Well, I am a design and builder of all sorts of things, but I've been working on brands since I was 19, and I've worked in film and TV and in the design arena right across the world. So my knowledge comes from not only studying but also practically building brands all over the world very successfully. And actually, I'm also the artist who creates the artwork, the graphic design, and the great ideas. And that's me. I am originally from Cornwall. I've spent a lot of time living in Germany and Paris, but now I'm very happy in the UK.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Daphne. Mike, over to you.
It was a little humbling to be around two so incredibly creative people. Today. I grew up in television, so right out of college, but I was at ESPN for 35 plus years, and in operations and production and engineering and HR. So within those four, I got to practice, and I also got to observe. And what I observed, even through all the media and all the fun with sports and media, what I observed was a company who came of age and who helped to grow an HR department, in an HR division, and as a part of Disney, it's a big global brand. And I am very much one who lives within, colors within the lines, stays within the lines, but I like to push the lines out a little bit at times. So therefore, the correlation of HR and business is something that's very clear with me. So I wrote a book about it because I just felt like I wanted to get it off my chest, get it out to business managers, embrace the HR insight. And that's my goal today. Recently, I founded Rewirement Media, and I co-founded Ali Plus TV, a streaming TV channel. ALEE stands for A Life Ever Evolving. It's lifestyle and entertainment programming for the 50 plus, which is a big swath of people, as you know, 50 plus. So we have lifestyle and entertainment television. We have a website, social media, and all the rest.
Thank you very much, Mike. And falling into that 50 plus category, I do appreciate content that is relevant to boomers. So thank you. All right, our two experts are here, and we are excited to get started and hear your lessons. Mike has graciously offered to go first. So I'm going to spotlight you, Mike, share your deck, and Daphne and I will be backstage. We will see you soon.
And thanks to Dr. Jacalyn for having me on for, this is now lesson 6 of 8 in this series. And this series is part of my workforce management and advocacy program. And today we're going to be spotlighting the diversity, equity, and inclusion, which I term enriching the workplace. So these lessons, as a reminder, these lessons are designed to give business managers a general understanding and a working foundation of the many disciplines that encompass business managing and the HR role. It's not meant to be an HR certification course. Instead, it's HR insight for managers. The content is contemporary, it's fluid. I will at times refer to human resources as advocacy. It's a term I recommend based on a very positive vibe, advocate, and the fact that human resources supports both business and human resources, not just HR anymore. Advocacy. These lessons are meant to help business managers, often first or second tier managers, with an inside look at the HR practice and tips for learning and applying some of these into your everyday routines. This will make you stronger. And why? Because in business, the managers shoulder much of the responsibility of advancing both business goals and staff growth. I'll focus on both. For example, many understand the supply chain of a product. I'd also like them to understand the supply chain or the life cycle of an employee, from candidate to retiree. Very important. Remember, without rules and organization, businesses fail. Economy suffers. So I'll talk about some of the theoretical practice. I'll offer some endorsements of some of the best human resources practices to invoke in your work. So we agree that HR blends people management and business support. It's very important that new managers understand more of those soft skills of people managing that can produce good results, grows leaders. Additionally, knowing how and where your business fits into the marketplace of any given company or industry is also very important. And I know that both business and HR practitioner could be involved in the lesson, and I think that they'll both find this beneficial. It's good to know each other's role and each other's specialty areas. I'll try to correlate the two as we go through the deck. So our focus today is going to be on enriching the workplace, which is, in other terms that you'll hear quite often, diversity, equity, and inclusion. So think about diversity. Diversity is a significant term in today's workplace and amongst the workforce. Enriching the environment where we convene our business every day is an important step in human relationships, good cultural and societal practice. It stretches the workforce to accept and include very important traits in a busy and often cold business climate. So it's very important for people to understand, accept, and include the word diversity. Differences are what brings great conversation, debate, collaboration, and ultimately resolution, which are all great attributes of a successful business. So diversity drives business. The components of enrichment are varied. For example, diversity of thought. This allows for multiple opinions and multiple opportunities to weigh options in a decision-making process. This should lead to good results, having weighed pros and cons, good and bad. Diversity of thought is not meant to create confusion and dissension. It should be considerate and used as a productive tool, because often decisions are made after having weighed many options before rolling out a decision. So no single answer can fit all scenarios and satisfy all partners. So manage diversity of thought closely. Allow staff and leaders alike to contribute, debate responsibly and respectfully, and you'll see an engaged workforce. An engaged workforce is driven from diversity, and we know diversity drives business. Culture. Culture is another very important part of a successful business. Culture builds trust. Many business leaders endorse good culture in the workplace and the workforce and better serve their community or industry as a result. Many businesses are made up of a collection of employees who, quote, reflect the community or industry. Many businesses are made up of employees, once again, who reflect the community. It's very important. A good company culture will be defined by many things, especially by people who work inside. They are the embodiment of a company, and often they are public-facing. They may be ambassadors, especially those who work in sales or marketing or retail, banking, insurance, hospitality, public servants, and so on. They are, some of these are who we have now become to know throughout the pandemic as essential workers. They're the ones that feed and inform and serve the public daily. They are trusted workers. They should reflect the community that they work in. So how you bring them together and how they interact with each other and your vendors and your consumers is very important for your business to succeed. It's not just about you and your employees, it's considering your vendors and your consumers as well. A lot of this is played out in how they are treated in their own company, how you set them up for growth, development, community interaction. How comfortable are they in expressing themselves, and is very important as well. All of this blends into a great company culture. My former CEO and a great mentor of mine reminded us that good company culture is a differentiator in business. So managers and workforce can all impact the culture of the workplace. So there's a workforce and a workplace. It's human nature to work in an inclusive environment. That should be human nature. Everybody works and everybody's included, and yet you're all competing. You're all competing for the rewards. That should not diminish from respecting each other and offering and delivering good service to customers, vendors, and each other. It's very important. The workplace should be a friendly and inviting environment. A blend of people, process, safe and secure systems is a good start. So where does enrichment manifest? Everywhere. Geography is a great differentiator of thoughts, custom, and business protocol. There's no doubt how culture impacts business. Each area of our country brings incredible opportunities to share backgrounds, ideas, and of course, solutions. And whether it's our country alone or it's around the world, we are a global workforce today. It also helps our nationally recognized brands or internationally recognized brands to have a positive impact in the communities where they sell. Know the community, reflect the community, and sell to the community. Think of how rich an internal culture is when people from all corners, colors, and faiths come together and all work together on a unified direction for the same company. It's a strong driving force. Conflict resolution is a key component of diversity. From a diverse point of view, we strengthen conversation with opposing views, discussion, compromise, collaboration, sometimes even concession. Though always we should agree that resolution is accepted and shared. We can agree to disagree, but we will agree to go forward with a resolution. From conflict, we will find direction. Conflict is a very important part of diversity of thought. How would a company implement such enriching strategies? There must be a level of acceptance and contribution from every level of the workforce. All staff have ideas. All staff have firsthand knowledge of what works and what doesn't in their own role. So diversity training should start with a good discussion, open and honest conversation where there are no wrong answers, respectful dialogue, no holes barred reception. Let it out, get it out, talk about it, and resolve. When all the elements of current state are open for discussion, pull out easy wins and figure them out. You can make change. Once there are solutions that are collaborative and agreed on, tackle some of the tougher situations. As you make change and everyone's engaged in change, everyone feels like they have succeeded and contributed. Sometimes training in the diversity and enriching of a workforce or workplace takes time and refinements. Success will vary in different companies. Give it time, measure success. There are many ways to implement an enrichment program. Just know that you must understand and accept what's going on in your business, current state, listen to the groups, offer solution-based suggestions. Engagement is a key indicator of interest. It's also a measurement of success. So there are many options from which to organize your enrichment program. Great companies out there, outreach to some of those key leaders and organizations of great companies that have this opportunity. It is not meant to be reinventing the wheel. It's reinventing culture. It's considering the culture and blending the people together and the workforce together to make an inclusive workplace. Consider a good template from a good company. Another key component of diversity, and this is very important. We won't get too deep here, but it is very important. Supplier diversity is very important. Who are you doing business with? If someone's going to consider you to do business with, they may look and say, who do you do business with? How are your vendors representing themselves? Your workforce and your workplace will be impacted positively or potentially negatively by supplier diversity. They are at times led by minority owners. They may be led and their workforce may be a separate workforce or different workforce than your own. A good supplier diversity will blend with your company and will help to advance your goals as well as you help to advance their goals. When a business is faced with making choices, sometimes the best decisions for the greater good will start with enriching the culture and offering a well-intentioned and balanced approach to all business. So when we talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion, we're consistently and fluidly and most contemporarily changing the terminologies. We've added equity there because we want all people to feel like they are not only included, but they are involved. And that's a piece of the equity. Simply, the workforce is your employed staff. The workstation is their base, a physical space, perhaps even at home, a home office or potential a mobile office. The workplace is designed for a community of workers, vendors, consumers, and contractors to share experiences and succeed in. The workplace is important, just as important as the workforce. Each of these can be measured within demographics, meaning the workforce can be broken down into how many, from where, at what level are they employed. Gender, ethnicity, other factors are identified by the workers themselves. That information is aggregated into the HR systems. So many business leaders may not know their true diversity demographics. So it is very important for them to have the conversation with their leadership, their ownership, or their HR partner to understand any mission towards a more balanced and inclusive workforce. Understand where you are before you try to make that change, but understand why the change may be important for you, because it may not be what you see, but it's what the people are. Strategic recruitment may identify opportunities or direction for a business to acquire new workers and talent. The responsibility and accountability of hiring may extend beyond the reach of the manager, though they should have a good understanding of the company mission and how recruitment fits the company mission. One very important aspect of workforce development is managing the feeder programs. The feeder programs can be the best asset a manager could hope for, generally comprised of students, interns, apprentice types. They seem economical when they're coming through because it's traditionally low impact to your budget, and they get to perform for you under a variety of conditions. How well they fit is important. How well they shape your conversations and inclusion is very enriching. You take away a lot of the fear and the leap of faith when you're hiring one of these back. So managers should embrace the programs, create an environment to educate and motivate students, take advantage of the opportunity to train them while they're still in school. Many companies work directly with schools to cultivate learning programs from which to surface great candidates and impact both organizations. And if the school understands your mission towards diversity, equity, and inclusion, or enriching your workforce, they will help you with that as well. Other feeder programs could include and should include returning military veterans, trade organizations, and contingent staffing agencies. Many industries have these trade organizations that support products, people, process, history. Many will have ethnic or niche or other classification of collection of workers. They may have certain aggregated groups of workers. And these are support groups that help ensure fair and equitable business practice, especially in recruiting, supplier diversity, and promotional opportunities. In the workplace, disparate groups can work together. There are differences by geography, race, faith, other factors such as parents or not parents, younger or older. Age is a very important part of diversity as well. Many companies have also formed affinity groups, whereby these groups of people in the workforce come together in off hours and share stories and cultures and other interaction. Some may bring in speakers, or others may volunteer in the community together. Still, others may go out to events together. It's doing something that reflects the community and the company that they both serve in. The workplace is enriched greatly when employees get together and share themselves. So engagement is a powerful tool for managers to align with. In some cases, the affinity groups allow friends or allies to join and start the inclusion of others into the group. This helps to spread the message, share the culture, become valuable to business and recruitment, and even reflecting the customer base. Business groups can help advance the diversity, equity, and inclusion woven into your practice. So the bottom line on enriching a workforce in a workplace is to hire a diverse enough staff to reflect the customer base, engage them in helping shape a friendly and inclusive place to work. The workplace is important. Keep it safe and free of harassment, ensuring all who work or otherwise interact in the workplace feel safe and secure. Create a place where people feel like they have a piece of it, that they own it, keep it orderly, keep it clean. The wellness of the staff is an important thing that any owner or business leader should foster. So like every one of my lessons, I do a support center slide. And the support center slide has these bulleted points. And each of those is important for you to do your own research to find out what it is that will help support you the most. So when we go quickly through them, the glossary, stay on top of the latest terms and technologies associated with your work. Periodicals, where is the news of your business discussed, debated, promoted? Industry consultants, who do you follow or interact with to advance your skills? References, where's your playbook? Where are your training tools? Trade organizations, who's setting the standards for your industry? And the continuing support, who do you rely on for mentoring, guiding, and motivation? Who do you follow? And of course, there's a couple of links here if you go to our page or see this online, and you'll be able to see further groups that I've had interaction with in my past. So that is it. Thank you for listening in today on the Enriching the Workforce lesson number 6 of 8. And I will bring us back to the studio and Dr. Jacalyn.
Hello, Mike. Nice job.
Thanks. Thank you.
Very nice. Very nice. I think this chapter has a lot of relevance, especially today with DEI that's being discussed everywhere, diversity and inclusion. So well done. How are you feeling?
Pretty good.
Good. Excellent. Daphne, any feedback you have for Mike?
Yeah, I think one of my favorite things Mike said is that the place has to be clean and safe, where people can actually have, be able to perform. And actually, being a design and builder, I've done many fit outs and actually designed offices and the brand for organizations. And it's amazing how much more successful people will be when they actually feel safe and calm and happy and not harassed. And in today's society, there's too much stress. And so I think definitely they need to talk to Mike and he can help them.
And Daphne, thank you for that point. In the previous lesson, we talked about filling the roster or the talent acquisition part of it, and each one of these has a handoff to the next one when you go through. And when you've got your final candidates coming through, or maybe your new hires coming through, as you're onboarding them, that's a great place to show off how open, secure, and safe your workplace is. You get people to meet and greet not only with their leadership who will be signing their checks and assigning them, but those peers that will be working alongside them or maybe even reporting to them. I think it's a very important piece to open that piece up as early as possible. Open it up during the candidates process of going through a recruitment, as well as in the onboarding, because I think it's very difficult when you've been in a place for any length of time to start having the open conversation. That might be a little bit more difficult if it's not open from the start.
Exactly. And also what's absolutely paramount for any successful corporate company is that they actually start off with great relationships. Mm-hmm. And I think that it's not, I don't see it enough in the workplace that the people who they need to set the conditions. So, and these transparent conversations. So everybody knows that it's okay to talk and it's okay to lean in to the group and all these things. There's a lot of work to do. You'll never be not wanted, Mike. There's a lot.
Mike's in demand.
And
exactly.
And you're right.
Need to hear this.
And sometimes leaders, owners will make a decision to make change in the workforce, and when that change starts or it gets manifest through engagement, then you know that you've got people with a little bit more stake in it. They're a little bit more vested in it, skin in the game. And if that comes from your workforce as well as your management teams, that's an honorable position. But they're asking you because they want you to open up. And sometimes those meetings are good because there's no holes barred. You want to know what's right and what's wrong, because what's right should be continued and what's wrong should be fixed or changed or figured out. And I think that's a good opportunity for people to, when diversity of thought is one of the most powerful tools that any company can continue to hone and sharpen.
Yes, definitely creating a culture where diversity is paramount, because everybody has something unique to offer. And I love meeting people from all different walks of life, because I'm always curious to understand how they look at things and what their experience has been with things. So I think that's really key in the workplace too.
Yeah. And people listen differently. People will receive messages differently. So even though you might have, a great message to hand out and something's going to be big and it's going to be delivered in a very happy way, there will be a percentage of people who that will not resound the same way or not resonate the same way with them, and it will have to be managed. So even that communication, knowing that people think and listen and receive differently.
I think also it's important that there needs to have a place in any relationship, whether it's a personal or working one. There needs to be a room for debate where people actually can push and pull. And when it's done when the conditions are set up again, it's done in a healthy way, not in a toxic way. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely agree.
And more gets accomplished and everyone feels better.
That's right.
Yeah. Wonderful. So thank you, Mike, for another fantastic presentation. We are going to go to commercial break, and then we come back, we will spotlight Daphne and hear your presentation. Okay?
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. All right, stay with us. We'll be right back.
The session that we had with BCAT was really entertaining and enlightening. We were able to put together some very specific steps that we as individuals can take, and it was really fun to all come together and see sort of where we're going as a team and how we can all get there together.
We had a tremendous experience with the BCAT partners. One of the challenges that we have as an organization is to make sure that we have the right people in the right chairs doing the right thing. To do that well, you have to have synergy. You can try to dream up ways to make sure that your group does that, or you can rely on experts. We would recommend BCAT partners to anybody who's looking to take their organization to the next level.
Hi, my name is Zane Carson Caruth, and I'm the author of this book, The World's First Tooth Fairy Ever.
Reading is magic. Studies have shown that reading to your children lays the foundation for greater success in life. Reading helps develop language and vocabulary skills. It helps improve memory, and it encourages curiosity and inspires creativity. The benefits are immeasurable, and as a parent, you'll benefit too. In only 10 or 15 minutes a day, you'll be creating more memories and a bonding experience that will last for years to come. So take time to read to your children. Read them books about things that engage and interest them. Tales of fairies and magic fascinate children, and as everyone knows, the Tooth Fairy is at the top of the list. If your child loves magic, wands, adventure, and what child doesn't, you'll love reading them books from the trademarked series, The World's First Tooth Fairy Ever. Follow along as Bella, the world's first tooth fairy, accidentally starts the tooth fairy tradition. Learn the tricks of being a professional tooth fairy in the book, Bella Starts a Tooth Fairy School. Your child's imagination will soar as you read the adventures of Bella and her magic wand. These wonderful books are available at worldsfirsttoothfairy.com and at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Walmart.
It's what we do together that counts. The Big Alliance story. A true story about faith over adversity, perseverance, and entrepreneurship. Read Earl's story and how he became an entrepreneur. Available on Amazon, Kindle, and Audible.com. For more information, contact Earl Hurd at earlhurd@bicalliance.com or call 1-800-460-4242.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the most listened to radio show on the planet. Even the other stations are tuned in too.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Welcome back and hello. You are watching Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn presents A Better You. Lessons from the best. Here they are. Coaches, consultants, and trusted advisors. Mike just did his presentation. He did his sixth presentation out of his 8 lesson series. And Daphne is with us for her first lesson. We were very excited. So Mike, let's say you and I go backstage and let Daphne do her thing.
Good luck, Daphne.
All right,
Thank
Daphne,
you.
take it away.
Well, hello, everybody. Wherever you are in the world, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's so lovely you're here today. Well, today, my start of the presentation is actually going to be getting you ready for being the best you. But going from a perspective of branding. So why is branding so important? Well, actually, it is the kind of the design and build behind the message. That probably sounds quite technical and confusing. And branding actually can be technical and confusing. But today, I just want to simplify it. So for me, when I start working with people and clients, it always starts with their big idea. So what is your big idea? And I just would like you just to give yourself a few minutes just to kind of center in and to actually just feel in your heart and soul what is that amazing idea or that thing that you've always wanted to do. And you know what? This also, it's the same question for existing business owners or people who have even huge companies. Because quite often in life you get distracted. You can be distracted. You can start off in one direction with your big idea and end up completely different one. And it's important always to come back to the authentic self, the authentic idea, and the big ideas. And the thing is, you don't have these big ideas or these passions or these dreams for nothing. They're actually there for you. They are gifts. Now, I always start working with people in that very authentic way. And actually, to build a great brand, it's all about relationships. And the first relationship is the relationship that you have to yourself. So it's really important that you listen to yourself, that you give yourself time, and actually you give yourself time to actually work on your hopes and dreams and your businesses. Now, just stop and think about what you said there. Give yourself time to work on your hopes and dreams and businesses. Normally, when you have a business, you're usually absorbed in the business, and there's very little time to do all these magical things that are absolutely so important for your brand build and success. So if you haven't got a notepad or a piece of paper or a pen or anything around you, I'd suggest just to get one, and I would invite you to write down some of your thoughts as I'm giving this presentation. Now today I don't have any slides and I don't have any props. Really, this is just kind of me kind of just saying hello to you and starting work with you and helping you to really connect to what your brand is, what it could be, what it will be. So where do we start? We start with, what is branding anyway? So branding actually, it's your promise, it's your word, it's your value exchange. So let's give some examples on that. So for example, one of my brands, I have quite a few. I can't help myself. I'm very into creating a lot. But one of my brands is called Brand Clever. Let me tell you a little story about Brand Clever and how that came about. Is that through my many years of traveling and designing, building buildings and companies and creating films and content and signage, graphics, making limitless projects and products for the commercial market, I saw so much adversity, so much sadness, and so many people actually losing the will to actually even continue with their businesses because of the expense. But actually, because of the confusion in the market, because, you know, there's $2,000 here, $500 there, £10,000 here, and then there's this real leakage of money in small and large companies. Actually, when people sit back and think about, well, what do they have? They don't have the right things. So that's why I put Brand Clever together, because that actually it's about being clever in branding a business and actually getting your ducks in a row and actually being ready and willing to actually start the marketing process. And the thing is, a lot of people, they go into the market with their business without any branding. And then what happens then is actually the customer is confused. No, let's never confuse your customer. Your customer is the king, the queen, that a valuable person that you're actually giving value to, and that they give the value to you. The value exchange is so important. So I just want you all to think about, you know, have you got your value exchange written down? Is that clear and identified? You give this, you get that. You contribute, you receive. You give, you take. How's that looking? And this is really important. So working with me over the next few weeks, you'll be thinking a lot and feeling a lot and doing a lot. And that will lead you to your success and actually to lots of bright spark ideas and light bulb moments that perhaps you'd never even expected to get, that will actually lead you to wonderful things. So let's start. So I'm thinking to myself, well, let's think about what would be the most important thing for somebody who's already got a business. They're very, very busy. They've got, you know, a website, they've got books, they've got all sorts of things, and seemingly everything looks as though it's actually, they've got it all aligned. But that, sadly, is not always enough. The question is, are you confusing your clients? Now, most businesses do confuse their clients, because a great brand and a great brand proposition needs to be understood in 3 seconds. And sometimes people don't even have 3 seconds. The way that advertising works, social media works, it's literally 1 second, and you either get it or you don't. So we're in a changing world. So where do you start? The starting point actually is your personal brand. And it's really important to show up looking your best and being your best. This is why I love working with Dr. Jacalyn and the team and all the other presenters, because they're all wonderful people helping you find the best, work on self-development, and really taking some time to be that better you. So that better you is about building your personal brand. Now, there are some people that don't believe, or they haven't got the vision to understand that actually how they look, how they sound has any relevance to their business. Some people, some CEOs say, well, my staff do that for me. Liz does that for me. Sally does that for me. Rob does that for me. But that's not enough, because all these people that you are leading are looking up to you. They are looking to you to be their role model. You are their role model. Therefore, it's so important that your brand is right and that you look good. You know, that you show up, you have your, a nice haircut, you're groomed, you've got appropriate clothing, and sometimes outrageous clothing. Don't be afraid to show your personality and actually be who you really are. One great example of that is Seth Godin. I mean, I love his yellow glasses. I think he's got blue glasses now. He's into the blue face, come out the yellow. But, it's memorable. And nobody actually is going to believe anything truly unless it's really authentic. So, but as the weeks go by, to be doing some lessons on pitching and presentation and actually personal image. So those are some really exciting lessons coming up. And the thing is, I have actually done so much all over the world in this arena. I've choreographed many of makeover show and styling. I've worked with some of the most amazing photographers and fashion designers, whether it be in the build arena and the furnishing arena, or whether it be in fashion and image arena. I've been very fortunate and actually enjoyed every moment of it. So this is why I know it's so important, because I've actually been there and I've heard all the conversations that you guys never hear, what people really think and how people are showing up and all these things. So I want to get on to kind of your to-do list to actually build a great brand. So the first thing, brand needs designing. It is not enough when you just kind of take some kind of your idea of what represents your product and put some text on it. It's not enough. It actually needs designing. And that designing is a deep process, which I'm very happy to talk to anybody about should they have the time or would like that value exchange. But the design is everything, because that's the difference of it being your brand and your business being outstanding, noticeable, desirable, and accessible. And all these things need to be in this fabulous brand of yours. The next thing is, when you have to build it, this is where you have to really roll up your sleeves and actually do the work, show up, do the work, and also to be creative on how you use resources and gain resources. It's not all about money and spending money. It's what you can make, what you have already, and really work on strengthening your assets. Now the next thing is marketing. You have to be ready with something that is designed and built before you even dream of going to market. This is where a lot of people will confuse their audience. Now the next thing, which is actually fundamental and the big basic for life itself, is to have outstanding relationships. It's about being a real good egg. It's about being reliable, dependable, transparent, trustworthy. If you can't trust yourself, who's going to trust you? And it's about actually having the patience to build a very sincere relationship. It's not about meeting someone who can help you smash and grab and then go. Absolutely not. These relationships have to be very sincere, and you have to have very aligned values, and actually to give it time and nurture. It's really important. Wonderful story, like back in the day when I was in Germany, I was delivering 2 huge lorry loads of fit out for a very prestigious office block in Lisbon, and we were just about to drive off and go down, just to get a note that actually we couldn't actually deliver on site for another month. Now, to suddenly have 2 lorries worth of full of fit out kit, it's a big responsibility, it's a liability. So I had to find a place to store 2 lorries worth of product, because the factory wasn't going to hold it, because they were in a manufacturer, they didn't have room. And it's only because I had a wonderful relationship with the guy who had a huge warehouse, and he said, Daph, no problem, just drive it in. You can keep it there as long as you want. Now, that could have actually ruined me and my business and my reputation if I didn't have that relationship. And I'm so grateful for the wonderful people that I know and love dearly. I do love all the people that I work and have in my life. I mean, if you don't have people that make you smile and are going to be supportive and lovely, then why have them? Big question. Anyway, so, and don't be afraid of getting rid of toxic people or naysayers or people who are just unpleasant, or even in the workplace, bollards, people who just put a spanner in everything that you're doing. It's very important to have a real clarity of mind and happiness when you're working. So work on these outstanding relationships. And as we go on in the lessons, I'm also going to give you more insights actually how to maintain outstanding relationships. Now, the next thing that you need for this branding is actually to have constant fresh content. And constant fresh content is not only good films or blogs or written things or wonderful websites, it's also graphic design, photography, because image is so important now, especially in the days now we have social media, and especially Instagram. It's so much built on kind of art and design and image. So but this has to be constant, not that we kind of just have a little go, have a few nice things done, and then 2 or 3 years later, we've actually got old photos. Yeah, we don't want that. It has to be constant. Right, before I come to, as I'm closing the end of my presentation, I'd like you to think about things not to do that are really, really important. And when you have a list of things that you're frightened of, or that give you anxiety, or the things that you find uncomfortable, those are the things that you should be looking at first. And here are just a few to highlight that just might help you today. So the first one is, don't be confusing. Make sure that your pitch, your delivery, your value exchange is absolutely clear from the get-go. Yeah, no matter who you're talking to. And if that means listening more rather than talking more, and so be it. They often say the wisest man or woman in the room is the one who speaks last and the one who doesn't say much. But really, please don't confuse people. And to really figure out whether you do confuse people at all, then it's a good idea to listen and ask questions. And don't be afraid to ask the people that you know, like, love around you, how's that come across? Do you actually understand what I do? What did you like about this? Ask questions. Yeah. And you know, and also don't worry if people don't even want to answer your questions. That tells you a lot too. People always show you who they are. Always. Right. The next thing is, don't fall into the gap. Now, what I mean by this is that people get very, very excited about what they want to do and the results that they want to have. And then they look at all the outcomes that they're hoping for, the hopes and the dreams and everything like that. And then they go from A to Z really quickly without doing the work. And then they fall into the gap because the work isn't done, the things aren't built, they're not designed relationships aren't made, so it's not going to happen. And another thing, also make sure that you're not being outcome orientated, meaning that you're just hunting after the outcome you want. Creating a brand and business and a wonderful lifestyle is a lot about actually being able to read the roadmap as the road is unfolding in front of you. More deep conversations to have with you another time. Anyway, the next thing to think about is actually to think about others. Think about others first. Think about the end in mind. Stephen Covey, one of his great sayings is, start with the end in mind. He's a very wise man. So start with the end in mind, but actually really listen about others and ask them what they want, what their visions are, and really absorb their conversation. Really listen. It's a very, very wonderful pastime, and you are gaining knowledge. You're becoming a fantastic branding detective. Right, the last thing is to keep in a calm state. Now, when you're working, if you've got people around you who are impatient, banging the desk, or coming in and out in a flurry, or your kids are texting you, your family are complaining, the weather is bad, whatever it could be, you have to observe your state. And if you're not in a happy, aligned state, you're not going to get great work done. Anyway, that is the gist of what I'm going to talk about today until the next time. And the next time I'm going to start with talking about how to pitch anything. I'm really excited about that one. But with these big ideas of yours, they are possible to bring to life, but you have to do the work. And that's where I come in. I help a lot of people all around the world get the work done, get their ducks in a row, design awesome stuff, and off we go. Anyway, thank you very much for listening. Bye-bye.
Well done, Daphne. I have a bunch of notes here. I felt I was completely relating to everything you're saying, and I'm thinking, oh, I didn't do that. I wasn't patient with this. I didn't. So I'm sure everyone who has a business that can relate to what you were talking about. One thing I just wanted to touch on is you mentioned here about not being outcome oriented, which I think is really important. And I think, Mike, I'd like to have you weigh in on this too. But I think when you have a business, you're doing all these things, right? You're in the muck of it. And you think to yourself, I want it to be over here, right? And people say to you, how close are you to being over there? How close to you are having this revenue stream? And then other people start to descend on you and try to interrupt your positivity. So what can you share with, I know you mentioned about being calm, what can you share with business owners who are going through that? And that's me, by the way. So.
Okay, well, I think here the way to navigate that is to create an event. Because when you have an event, you can say, okay, say now, where are we now? We're in May, aren't we? Yeah. So if somebody says, okay, I'm having an event in May and I am going to publicize this, I'm going to show you this, and this value exchange will be ready by then actually all the things that you want to create and all the sales that you also want to make, you can start the process off. So then you've got June, July, August. You've got 12 weeks of kind of selling, relationship building, so you can actually reach your own goals. So the thing is, it's about actually project planning as well. And when you really understand your brand and how you're going to drive your brand out to market, this becomes easier. And this is why I'm talking about this today, is because so many, we've all been there. I've been there too. I've thought to myself, gosh, I'm in a great big hole. Why am I here? Right? And it does often come from outside forces. And also this calm, it's about actually realizing what state you're in, because a lot of us, we can be reactive sometimes we can be proactive, reactive, or other. And this is really important to actually get a grip of, to actually our self-mastery. So martial arts is very good for this. Yoga is very good for this. Breath work is very good for this. Actually, even having a mirror. At one point I put a mirror. Well, actually, I didn't put it on purpose. I had a mirror in front of my desk. It was kind of an accident, but it was a good accident because I could see how I was reacting to things. And I thought, oh no, I can't do that. I have to calm down. Yeah. And then coaching people for years and years, it's also really the state that you're in. And when you walk into a room with, feeling wonderful and aligned and composed, you can actually, heads will turn. If you walk in like a little nervous mouse, nobody sees you and you feel awful. So this state's so important to work on. But I'm going to be working on that in my classes to help give people the tips and the tricks and the insight to those things.
Well, thank you. You've brought so much value. I could ask you endless number of questions, but I'm going to defer to Mike.
Well, I think there's a good point that you made is I also took lots of notes. And one of the points here is if you're not to be consumed with your outcome and not to be so wrapped in it, because that will stress you out, because you will be losing your focus on those intermediate steps. I think there was a phrase that I learned several years ago about there's two states of being, and one is being in the business and one is being on the business. And if you are managing above the business, you have a different perspective. And if you're trying to do both, if you are knee deep in the weeds and trying to run the project or run it toward an outcome, and you're in the business, it's much more difficult to see outside that. So your analogy of the mirror, and it actually worked because you could actually see what it was doing to you. Being you're more focused on you've got something to do personally as well as run the project or run an event. It's very easy to get consumed with that and lose perspective. So you really want to know what is your actual motive and what is your actual responsibility or role within the project, and those around you as well, and set expectations so that there is if somebody's looking for their outcome, well, we haven't hit the deadline yet. Where are you? How can you relate to that?
That's absolutely right, Mike. And also, this is why I've mentioned kind of the brand needs design and building, but with the monetized business model integrated. And with all the brands that I design, I do the money model first and then integrate it with the brand. But the thing is, when there's a plan, when there's kind of a document, a project managed document, everybody, you can print it off, everybody can go from page 1 to 10, everybody can see, it's transparent, and you're not confusing people. This is why it's so important. Please don't confuse.
Yeah. So and sometimes they say the bigger the company, the more the resources. Well, sometimes the more the confusion, because decisions are made and marketing may start before the operations or the supply chain is in the loop. And sometimes that will also conflict with schedules. So you want to make sure that when you're setting the brand or that what did you say? Be ready to go to market. So you're going to be ready with something, then you better have all of your divisions ready to go at the same time.
Exactly. And also the graphic design, the artwork, the music, the tone, the whole style of it has to be bedazzling. Yeah. This kind of, it's okay, copy and paste kind of culture, that has to go. It's very toxic. And not only that, it's just like you are continuously testing the market. And when you do, you can have more fun. And I also think that people can become too self-focused. Like on my little ad I put out for today, I didn't put a picture of myself. I put a picture of a dog in a dressing gown with big pictures and some popcorn, because I thought it'd make people laugh. I mean,
people will remember that.
But the thing is, it makes people laugh. It makes people think, hey, that's nice. And actually, that's how, ideally you should be relaxing, enjoying some popcorn, having a look. But it's always about these kind of artistic brand messaging, and also understand how the brain works, because brain picks up imaging and smells and vibration faster than the written word. So it's about being a master in all these things, which, over in my desk, we can help you with that.
I have two comments. The first is I loved your posting. It immediately drew me in. I thought, wow, look at this imaging and the way you worded it. And I would just share, I know I am still working on my social media. And for anybody out there, for example, if you come on a show like this or any other show, if you're being interviewed, you're presenting, why don't you do social media posting about it? Because this is your opportunity to let people know what you're doing. And so many times I find people don't do any posts whatsoever, which I think is interesting. The second thing I want to share, because I learned this the hard way and I'm still working on it, I spent a fortune of money advertising, website, doing this, doing that. Of course, none of it was right. None of it amounted to anything. And what I learned about my website recently was when you come to my website, I think it's called the top of the fold, there was no relevant information for anyone to know what I did. So it's very confusing. So I hired someone to coach and the person walked me through it. And I think
because you don't get your message out, you're not working as a team, and obviously something is missing. So the recipe for that is to, get some good branding done and actually get some great graphics done and really work on that. It doesn't have to be perfect overnight. Maybe you'll work on that for 3 months, 6 months, 3 years. It doesn't matter. It matters that you actually start. And just simplicity is really good. And just like with my post today, I know exactly it's not going to confuse anyone. And in 3 seconds, they can read it. Yeah. And that's for everybody to do.
It's kind of a numbing experience at times when you go through like your Facebook, news feed or your LinkedIn news feed or Twitter, because how do you do it? You look at it and you start scrolling, and you're scrolling at a pretty rapid speed, and we're expecting that somebody may pick up something that we're posting. So you want it to be the first couple of times that people can stop to your point, can stop on your feed, on your post and say, wow, this is interesting, let me see. They'll stop again. And if they stop more than once or twice, they're going to look at that slowly when they go through their news feed, because some people want to go through their news feed and see what they've missed. And it's very important. I wrote down the 3 seconds, and I think 3 seconds could be generous, could be 2 or less, that people will have to pick up on that. I think it's a great and an important point to, and the more you post, people personally have figured out that if you're posting, and you're posting with others in there as well, you're getting twice or 3 times the amount of attention to your post. So it's good to extend each other's brands, because we're all working as a team here. Mm-hmm. Big companies can do that too. They can extend their brands by going on other brands and extending through other brands. We're all a brand at this point.
That's absolutely right, Mike. But I also think there's something that we need to flag up, is that we don't know what we don't know. We're not all experts at everything. Right. And that it's very important to pick up the phone and talk to people who do know. If you don't know, own up to it. I don't know everything. I really don't. And if I'm very good at asking for help or researching. I love being a detective. I'm very curious. But the thing is, I think it's really important to get help. And if you, and a lot of people are not visual. A lot of people aren't designers. A lot of people haven't had this experience. So I don't think you need to be hard on yourself because you haven't quite got that right. But today, here on this wonderful channel, it's all about branding and marketing and companies and doing things. So it's so start today and really start to be willing to take a fresh approach on your branding and marketing materials.
I think one thing that could be a complete show in and of itself is when you have a brand and you need to revisit it. You can't take it personally. You can't be like, no, I can't let go of this because this is part of who I am, and realize that it might be painful breaking away from what you have identified with for all this time. So whether it's for a month or however long, it might not be working. That could be the case for me, for anyone.
That's really fantastic point. And I just want to give some quick value there. It's not about actually rejecting what somebody has done. I call this a brand refresh. And it's very, very important to have a brand refresh, even with the biggest companies in the world, whether it's every year or 18 months or 3 months or whatever the timelines are on that. But it's a brand refresh. And when you have like a genuine, authentic, fantastic a group of people or person to work with, they're going to pull out the best of you. They're going to show the best of you. That's about the being authentic. People are wonderful. They have awesome stories and awesome things to give. So, it's a good idea to kind of, get into the groove and the state to say, I want to be bedazzling and I'm ready, baby. Take me there.
I love that. Well, you both have enlightened me so much, and I know our audience as well. If you're watching and you just joined us, I know a couple people just sent me messages that they just got on. You can go over to our YouTube channel. This is for every show we have. Go over to Dr. Jacalyn LLC, subscribe to YouTube, and then you will be notified automatically when the shows are starting. You can also go to Facebook, Dr. Jacalyn's interviews, and if you like the page, you will automatically be notified every time that we have a show that's live, and the shows can be seen there before. It can be seen there afterwards. I'm sorry. Hi, Diane. Diane says she loves the brand refresh. Very nice. Thank you for watching, Diane. Okay, so before we go, I'm going to spotlight each of you. And remember, for folks listening in Radio Land, they can't see your banner. Daphne, how can people get in touch with you?
Well, I've got a very unusual name, which is Daphne Diluce. I do believe I'm the only one in the world. I'm so lucky. So just Google me, or to put Daphne Diluce, Facebook, Daphne Diluce, and my website is really easy. Guess what? It's www.daphnedeluce.com. So
talk about consistent branding. Very nice. Okay, Mike, I'm going to spotlight you and find your banner. Here we go. How can people reach you?
People can reach me through LinkedIn. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can go to AleePlus, AleePlus.com. That's our streaming channel in our digital and social world. AleePlus.com, or my book is on Amazon, Soft Skills and Leadership, HR Insight for Managers. It's on Amazon still. It's up there now. Or you can find me on LinkedIn and send me a personal message to connect, and we can share our contacts there as well. But either way, if you find me directly on LinkedIn, just give me a shout out and tell me where you found me, and we can pick a conversation up from there. Thanks.
Thank you, Mike, and I hope you and Daphne will connect, and I look forward to seeing you both again. Thank you again for being here, and we'll talk soon. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Bye. What a fabulous set of lessons. I hope that you're finding this as valuable as I am. There's always something, if you're curious, if you're open, if you're listening, like Daphne mentioned, you can learn something. You just got valuable information that you didn't have to pay for, that they probably charge, I don't even know. It's priceless information what they're giving. So thank you for tuning in. Again, if you missed the show, go over to Dr. Jacalyn LLC. We've got another show coming up very shortly. I think it's less than half an hour from now. It's fashion, fitness, travel, and leisure. So I'm going to go get all dialed up, and then I'm going to come back and meet with my friend Diane Floyd-Boehm and our guest for today. So thank you again for joining us. Thank you, Daphne. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, everyone, for watching. We really appreciate you as we grow our brand. We'd love to hear from you. If you'd like to be a guest on our show, please go to drjacalyn.com, book your session. See you later.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting. I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.